Welcome back to our monthly McLean County Reentry Council monthly meeting. Thank you all for taking your Friday afternoon out to be with us. Hopefully others join us, but we got an awesome speaker all the way from YouthBuild today that's going to come and give us some great information on what YouthBuild is and how we as a council can get involved or send people there that we may know, whether in the penal system, the criminal justice system, facing life struggles, or in drug and alcohol treatment centers. So first of all, we're going to introduce yourself and just say, hey, who you are, what agency you work for, and what's your plans this weekend. First, I'll go ahead and start off. My name is Toy Beasley, and I'm the president of the McLean County Reentry Council. I also work for an agency called TAS, Treatment Alternatives for Safer Communities. I'm the reentry support coordinator statewide. And what I got planned to do this weekend, if it stays warm, I'm going to clean out my garage this weekend. So that's what I'm going to do this weekend. Kat.
My name is Kat Hayes. I am the recovery specialist with the McLean County Recovery Oriented System of Care. And for what I'm doing this weekend, I'm working on getting my house ready for adopting a cat in the next week. So
awesome. Thank you. Colleen.
Hello, everyone. I am Colleen Shaw. I'm the outreach manager at Bloomington Public Library. And this weekend, well, I'm actually training for a half marathon, my first. And so I have to wake up at 7:30 tomorrow morning and run 6 miles. What have I done?
Seems pretty exciting, but you could get through it.
Yep, that's right.
Even if you got to stop and walk some, as long as you make it.
Amen.
Trudy.
Hi, this is Trudy Robinson from the YW Strive program, and we are a professional development program. So if you know anyone who wants to learn some new skills, send them our way. Glad to be here.
Thank you, Trudy. I appreciate it. Tommy Johnson.
You're on mute.
I don't think he's even on mute. We'll come back to you, Tommy. I think you got some audio issues, but we'll come right back to you. Corey.
Hi, everybody. I'm Corey Tello. I'm on the Health Department board, and I'm on the Mental Health Advisory Board, and it's nice to see all of you. And I am going to a St. Patrick's Day party tomorrow.
All right.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Thank you.
Marla?
Hi, everyone. I'm Marla Elmore. I work with Department of Corrections with Parole and Reentry out of the Champaign Parole Office. And when you ask that, I'm spending a lot of my weekend in Bloomington. So a couple friends and I are going to go over to eat lunch at Ancho and Agave. If you've never been, it's amazing. And then Sunday, most of the day at a event at the Cedar Lake Fellowship. So I'll be in Bloomington a lot of the weekends.
Wow. Okay. It's supposed to be beautiful.
I know I'm going to have to get out inside because I love to go hiking. So I'm going to have to squeeze it in.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. Sherry?
Hey guys, sorry I'm late.
You're fine.
So the question was, well, I'm Sherry Thompson.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I work with IDOC, Reentry, Corrections Assessment Specialist. My mom is turning 80 and we're getting ready to have her a party. So I'm making things because parties are expensive. So that's what I'm doing this weekend.
Thank you, Sherry. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Millicent?
I also work with IDOC as a corrections assessment specialist. And this weekend, I am unclear on my plans, but so far I'm going to do some things with my mom, stepdad, and sister, and probably go out for brunch and catch up a little bit.
I'm going to catch up with a friend who I have not seen in person since before the pandemic. And I may or may not go up from Springfield to the Starved Rock area to give my boyfriend's kids a few things. I have a few things at my house that are actually intended for them, and this would be a good time to do that. Although I don't know, either that or just do housework. It's flexible, you know. It could do all sorts of things. You know, we'll decide as time goes by.
Well, you be safe and have fun. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having us.
Tommy Johnson, you got your audio back yet? Can you hear me now?
A little bit.
We could barely hear you. Just go ahead and put your information in the chat. I think you just got some audio things. Michelle just hopped on. Michelle, who you are, where you work at, and what's your plans this weekend? Also, what you do in the community too? Sorry.
Sure. Wow. We have all day. My name is Michelle Cope of the Bloomington Public Library. I do community outreach. I drive the bookmobile. I'm on the board of the Reentry Council and many other community meetings. I would love to make connections with you and see how the library could help, or how I could help you do what you do better. And I love to come out and collaborate in any way that I can. And this weekend, I don't know, a good cup of coffee and a nice green outfit. That's my plan.
Are you gonna put any dye in it to make it green? So
you know, maybe a little mint. We'll call it, yes. Yeah, a little chocolate and a little mint. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Kara, guys, Kara put her information in the chat. Tommy Johnson, if you want to put your information in the chat so they know who you are, he just did. So Tommy Johnson's with the WI programs at Heartland Community College. We got one more pop on. Hey, Lakeisha. Hey, Lakeisha.
Hey, how are you?
Good. Use the last one to pop on before we start our guest speaker. I don't mean to put you on the spot, but tell us who you are, where you work at, and what do you plan on doing this weekend?
My name is Lakeisha Smith. I work at the Bloomington Housing Authority as a resident services coordinator, and I plan on doing homework this weekend.
Awesome. Thank you for your referral. The guy called me. Thank you for the referral. Thank you for that, because I think it really meant a lot to him to connect with us.
Good. Thank you.
No problem. Okay, so before I announce the guest speaker, I just want everybody to know that one of the biggest things that we're trying to do with the McLean County Reentry Council, not only to work with adults, but if we could start working with the at-risk adolescent and get them information before they hit the penal system, I think is so important. So one of the things that we're doing, and one of the things we talked about in the beginning of the year when we had a retreat, is how can we get adolescents involved in some of the work we're doing? How can we get providers that work with adolescents involved? Because the more we get involved with them, the more or less chance they go back into the penal system. And the reason I said the penal system is going inside the prison. So if we can catch them now from going to the penal system, find the resources they need, more likely we can help them transition back into transition to stay in the community instead of going to prison. But other than that, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our guest speaker. I'm just going to introduce who he is. I'm going to have him tell him who he are, what he does, and the great work that he's doing in the community. So other than that, David Lewis.
That's the kind of introduction that I love. Short, sweet, and to the point. All righty. Hello to first of all, hello to everybody. Some of you I know, and Colleen, she's waving. I got a shout out to her as we go back. She's special in my life, one of my former students. So I love to see her, but every time I see her, it reminds me that one of us is getting older. Good seeing you. And I am so very proud of all the good work that you're doing. Michelle, I know Michelle, Lakeisha. So those who don't know me, you will. And that's my purpose for being here, is to tell you what I'm currently doing. Oh, I got to shout out to Millicent, because that's my mom's name. So I love her already. I don't even know her. Well, I do know her now. Anyhow, so I will tell you what I do. And if you can tell by my personality, I'm pretty shy and withdrawn. So help me along if you will. My name's David Lewis. I've been in this community forever and ever. Went to school here, went to undergrad here, went to grad here. I'm back. I've done a whole bunch of things. And what I am doing right now at this phase in my life is having me pretty excited. I am currently the Career Center Coordinator at YouthBuild High School right here in town. Now, show of hands, you could just wave. How many of you are familiar with YouthBuild? Is there anyone? Okay, I see Tommy is, Kat is, a few other people, Colleen. Okay, is there a better question might be, is there anybody on the call who is not familiar with YouthBuild? Couple people. Okay, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, so look, let me give you the history of YouthBuild, and then I will bring you fast forward to where we are today, and then we can talk about how we can work and collaborate. YouthBuild it's the brainchild of a lady back in the 70s in New York. She lived in New York. She was a community activist. And basically what she saw was empty buildings and a lot of unemployed, uneducated, unmotivated young people. So what she did, she came up with this brainstorming idea, and she said, what if we could somehow create a program for these young people to maybe get into construction and teach them a trade. At the same time, these students could work on some of these empty buildings in New York City, and maybe we could collaborate and make something happen. Well, that's how YouthBuild started. So she got a grant and she went to the city, one of the boroughs in New York, and the city government in New York literally sold her the first building for like $1, and then she got local laborers and unions to teach young people, take them on as apprentices, if you will, and they worked on these buildings. So that's how YouthBuild started. And that was like back in the 70s. YouthBuild has been in McLean County since 1994. That's almost 30 years. And we've had over 2,000 young people come through YouthBuild. And I'm going to be perfectly honest, until I started working here, I had no idea that YouthBuild was actually in this community. And it's a long story how I got here, but I just kind of fell into this because I wasn't looking for a job and was really kind of ready to step away from your conventional work world. But I said something to a friend a year before, actually 3 months before I got here, and it's a reminder of how powerful words can be. I remember saying to a friend, I want to make a difference as opposed to making $1. And I was at that point in my life where my son's, he's grown. We were talking about what we're doing this weekend. Well, I can tell you what I'm not doing. I'm not getting on another plane or train or automobile to go see my boy play baseball. Last week I was in Memphis. The week before I was in Houston. The week before I was in Mississippi. This weekend I'm taking a break. So fast forward, so I was in the corporate world, was getting ready to leave and just do something else. I made the statement, I want to make $1, I want to make a difference as opposed to making $1. I get a call out the sky blue, and my current supervisor said, hey, I know you, and I think you are what we need for this particular position. So I came over, looked at the place, and I don't know if you know where we are. We're on Wiley Drive, which is by the Galaxy movie theater. I'm looking out my office window and I can see the sign for the Galaxy movie theater. So that's where we are. It used to be the outlet mall. We have, if you drive in, we're on the left, we have that entire complex to the left, that's YouthBuild. And it's inconspicuous. It looks like a outlet mall because it is. And most people, when they come out here, they're like, oh my goodness, I didn't even know you guys were out here. Anyhow, so YouthBuild has been in McLean County since 1994. It's had several different locations, but at this current location, I think we've been here, I think it's 10 years or something to that effect. Now, we've served over 2,000 youth in McLean County, and annually, we serve between 150 and 170 young people. We take in young people from the ages of 16 to 24. Now, before I go any further, let me dispel some myths. When people say YouthBuild, oftentimes they'll say YouthBuild Alternative School. The word alternative is not in our name. And when somebody says that, I will usually say, well, I don't want to make, I don't want to put them on the spot. So I'll say, we're not an alternative school, but we are an alternative to the other schools in Unit 5 and District 187. So what type of student comes to YouthBuild? Well, first of all, you got to be between the ages of 16 and 24. And usually, I'd say about 90%, maybe 95% of our students, they matriculate from one of the other high schools in town. Now, does that mean they're a bad seed? Not necessarily so. It just means that it didn't work. They did not matriculate with the other schools. They couldn't sit in a classroom from 9 to 5 or whatever your typical classroom is. Maybe they've got some challenges that presented some challenges for them to go to the traditional schools. So many of them have gone to West, U-High, Bloomington, or community, and it didn't work out. And so a counselor will refer them to YouthBuild. So they get referred, they come out, they fill out an application, and we are an accredited high school. So their high school diploma is exactly the same as the diploma coming from any other institution in our community. Anyone can attend if you live in McLean County. You can come here. Actually, we like to tell people if you can be here at 9 o'clock, you can go here all day. So, but we do serve McLean County. So what's the difference between YouthBuild and maybe normal West or normal community? Well, our students, when they get here, they go through what's called mental toughness. I call it boot camp. And they do this for about 2 weeks, and we teach them the YouthBuild way. After they finish that, they then choose one of three vocations. They either go into construction, IT, or healthcare. Those are the three sections that we have for our students. And so they come in and they take English and math, but then after the English and math, after the morning session, then they go to either construction, IT, or healthcare. Now, here's the beauty. Our students that are in construction, they're still working on buildings in this community. And you may not be familiar with YouthBuild, but you might be familiar with some of the works that we've done or some of the buildings that we've built. We just finished a building, a home out off Fell Avenue. Absolutely beautiful little home that was sitting there for 20 years unoccupied. And we just finished that particular property. And interestingly enough, people will often say, well, what type of work do the students do? Well, one of our colleagues bought that house. So that ought to tell you that, the workmanship, these students, they do phenomenal work. And a lot of these students, what I have found personally is that these students need someone to believe in them before they believe in themselves. A lot of these kids, I shouldn't say kids, I'm trying to get out of using that word. A lot of these young people are coming from backgrounds where they're dealing with trauma, they're dealing with issues that many of you know because you're in the field. So I feel like I'm preaching to the choir here, but a lot of the issue that these students are facing outside of school, when they come here, we try to create a safe environment where they can learn. Don't always work that way, and some of them don't always get into line, but what I found out about YouthBuild is that the people that work here clearly cares about these students at a level that many of them have not had people care for them. So we serve at-risk youth, and they are not necessarily court involved, but a lot of them are, some of them are. We've got teen parents, youth in foster care, low-income, non-traditional learners, and children of incarcerated parents. So we span the spectrum. And I believe, okay, like I said, 16 to 24, something else that's interesting about YouthBuild. Once you graduate, once a YouthBuild student, always a YouthBuild student. I work with YouthBuild alumni. So what my job is as a Career Center coordinator, I go out into the community and I work on my people skills, and I try to be more uplifting and outgoing. And I ask people if they would like to hire our students, and I try to collaborate and create connections and relationships that allow our students to be able to move into positions or jobs where they ordinarily would not either have access to or knowledge of. And so before sending them out, I train them on how to write a resume, how to answer, how to interview correctly, how to dress. And so we've done all kinds of things. I've got a clothes closet that I'm real proud of our clothes closet, where we have secured clothes, interview type clothes for our students. So when they leave YouthBuild to go to a job interview, they are not only presentable, but sharp as a tack. And so we're real proud of that. And that, I believe, that about sums up what we do here at YouthBuild. A couple other facts, something just jumped at me. I've got some notes here. We've rehabbed over 200 units of housing for low-income families in McLean County. And we are also part of AmeriCorps, where they do service work, and our students have contributed over 850,000 hours of service to McLean County. A part of my thinking, my personal mantra, if you will, is every day I come to work, I have an opportunity to break generational family curses. And I believe that if we can get a young person a viable job, give them something to be proud of, then that goes a long way to eliminate some of the issues that we see on a day-to-day basis. And I know many of you, if not all of you, probably feel the same way. So that's why I get a little bit excited when I talk about YouthBuild and what I am doing here. That being said, I think I've covered about everything, most of the things that we do here, and I will now turn it back over to Toy. And if you've got questions, and I'll be more than happy to answer them.
Thank you so much, David. I appreciate that. The ones, I know we had 2 or 3 just join on afterwards. This is David Lewis with YouthBuild. He works with youth adolescents. And the reason why we brought David on today is to talk about what YouthBuild does, because one of the biggest things that happens in the system is that if we could start working with or getting connected with our youth at a young age and send them to the appropriate place, I think that we can help reduce recidivism and them going into the penal system. So I think that's very important. Then there's one thing you really talked about is working with children, parents that have been incarcerated. Yes. And so that's one of the things that attracted me, and I didn't really think about that, and we work with, and some of the parents that we work with, I know on the DOC side and the county side, that we have some of their parents incarcerated, that their children are struggling out in the community, don't know no direction to go to. So this would be a big avenue that we can work in. But I have, before anybody's hot for a question, I do have one question. I know you talked about that there are people that come to you that are already involved in the criminal justice system. What would you say that percentage is? And if they're there, do their incarceration come up? Is that conversation happen of them fear of going back or getting caught back up again?
Great question. You see this pregnant pause. The pregnant pause is because I do not have any statistical data on the percentage of young people that have criminal that has a criminal background or has a criminal history. However, I say that, but because of my position, when we're talking about jobs and I have them fill out the assessment so I can get some information about them, many of them do. I'd say probably maybe 50% of the kids I talk to have had some involvement. To what level, whether it's a misdemeanor or felony, it depends. And they will usually share that with me because they have to, if I'm going to send them out for a job. But from an official perspective, I don't know that we keep record of that, because it's not, when you show up every day at YouthBuild, your past, as far as we're concerned, is your past. And so people will often say, well, do you have students that have a criminal record? Yes. Well, what type of criminal record would not qualify you to be here? That's a good question. I know somebody who was probably going to ask that. Sex offenses. Because we've got students 16 or 24, and that is a rather large age group. So sex offenses would probably invalidate your application. Serious felonies would have to be looked at on a case-by-case basis. And that's what I was told by my executive director, because I think you and I had talked previously, Toy, and that was a question that I believe came up, and I followed up with that. So sex offenses, that's a no-go. Serious felonies would be looked at case by case, and I would assume that my assumption based on what she said was it would be based on what the felony was, and everything else, if you are dealing with it, we will work with that.
Okay, great. I know I think this is another question I asked you. Can a person start, so if we wanted to connect, if we had an individual that was in the county jail, that was in the penal system inside DOC, and they fit the criteria of not having those sex offenses, and they was between the ages of 18 and 24, how can they start connecting with you guys right now as they come home? Can they write you right now? Can they start collaborating with you right now? And the reason why I say that, because I'm a big advocate of starting their reentry before they leave. So what can we do how can we help them collaborate with you guys?
If they were interested in coming to YouthBuild, I was going to say they send us email, but I don't imagine they have email when incarcerated. I'm not sure. They could call. We can get the basic information that we take from any student, and we are a year
right in terms of the fact that.
Hey, Greg, you are not on mute. Let me mute you.
I think he is now. I thought he was. Okay. I thought he had an answer for your question. I was going to say, go ahead, Greg, take it away. To your point, if the student contacted us, we could begin. I know what I was going to say. We're a year-round school. So we go to school year-round, and we take new students every quarter. And so we are about to start a mental toughness in the end of April. So say this individual was incarcerated, and they were incarcerated and they got in touch with us in January. We would get their information. We'd get all the information that we need to start the process. If they were out by April, they could join that mental toughness. If they were not out by April, then we would put them on the list for the next session in which we start, because every student that comes through YouthBuild has to go through mental toughness. So I don't know if that answered your question or not.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
right,
Absolutely.
right. And there's a $25 processing fee, and if they couldn't afford that, you know, that can be waived, and that's about it. We've got, it's the same process that you would go to a school. We've got to have immunization records, and we work with students with all of that. You know, if they don't have those records, then we work with the health department, and we take them down to the health department to get those shots that are necessary. And other than that, that's it.
Michelle had a question. How large is your classes?
That's a good question, Michelle. It is really, the interesting thing about YouthBuild is that we don't have a class size. So, you know, if you went to Normal West, it'd be maybe 20 kids in a class. With us, we've got, the students work at their own pace. So when you come to YouthBuild, you get English credits, and you have, in order to get English credits, you have assignments. And so you do the assignments at your own pace. And so our teachers, we have an open room type of setting. And so if you came to visit us, or you came on a tour, you'd see students sitting around, talking, doing various things, but they're not necessarily in a classroom. They're all working on different projects or different pieces at the same time. And so, you know, a question people will often ask is, well, how long did it take you to graduate? Well, it's a self-paced program. So it takes you as long as it takes you to complete your work.
Any other
So,
questions for?
Yeah, I was gonna ask, just kind of follow up. So, you don't really have class sizes. How many teachers are there?
We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 instructors.
And are there hours like that the kids have to be there?
Yes, it is a great question, Michelle. It's a closed campus, and you are here from 9 to 3:15 every day.
Okay, a former school teacher here that
Yes.
can you how is there busing, or is transportation ever an issue to your location?
You are a former school teacher.
I know, I know.
Asking the nitty-gritty questions. To that, that's a great question. We do not have school buses. We do
Okay.
not have school buses here, so students have to find their own way here. And many of them drive, and of course, they've got family members that bring them here. There is also something that we don't really advertise, and it just dawned on me, but I will share with this group. Our students get stipends, and they get stipends because if you're based on the vocation that you're in, we give them a stipend for daily attendance. And so that's something
awesome.
that, yeah, we don't advertise, hey, come to YouthBuild, we'll pay for you to go to school, but you do get a stipend.
And is there a bus route close to you?
Oh yeah, we're right across from the transit.
Okay.
What is it?
Connect.
Yeah, Connect
Okay,
Transit.
perfect.
Yeah. And so, yeah, so we're right by Connect Transit, little ways, about a block over from the Walmart on the west side. And so, you know, students, once they get to the school and they get to meet people, oh my goodness, they carpool and all kinds of things. They get here.
That's awesome. Any other questions?
I see something in the chat. Let's see.
Colleen said there's usually openings or there's a wait list.
Good question, Colleen. There is no wait list. There is no wait list. And let me, and you notice that I hesitated on that. Let me tell you why I hesitated. This morning, we had On Fridays, we do different things on Fridays. We always have a field trip of some kind. So today we took our kids to Paul Mitchell. So Paul Mitchell in town. And so we always do something different on Fridays. And Paul Mitchell, a lot of the guys just didn't want to go to Paul Mitchell, I'm guessing. So a lot of them did not show up. So this morning, I think there were probably maybe 30 students present on campus. We've got about 75 students. And so we do have attendance requirements, but remember I said earlier that these young people come from challenging backgrounds. A large majority of these students have had troubles in the previous schools because of attendance. And so attendance tends to be an issue. So we may have 90 students currently in the program, but on any given day, you'll see 50 or you'll see 60. And so for that reason, we tend not to have a wait list because we seldomly ever, except on Fridays when they get paid, usually on payday Friday, we usually get about 95% of our students, people that we haven't seen in a minute, like, oh, wow, I didn't know you were still here, but they show up. But other than that, that's why we don't have a wait list.
I think Corey had her hand up. Go ahead, Corey.
Yeah, I just, is there therapy for the youth available on, let's kind of embed it in the program, or do you just refer them to agencies?
You all are great question. That's a great question, Corey. I'm so sorry I forgot to mention that. We have a social worker on staff, and we also have a psychologist or psychiatrist? Well, we've got a mental health professional that has an office on campus that our students schedule appointments, and I don't know her schedule. I mean, but I see her probably 3-4 times a week. I don't know. I think she's got office hours, but I'm never on that side. But to your answer, we do have professionals, and we also have some relationships with some mental health professionals that we can send them to if we can't deal with the issues that they're currently dealing with. So that's a great question.
Thank you. That's great to know.
Yes. And I totally forget about that because I'm not on that end, but and I shouldn't, because she stays busy. That's why she has an office on campus.
Yeah, that was one of my questions too. I was going to ask, but great, good to know that. Kat, you had your hand up?
Yeah, I was wondering what percentage of students go on to post-secondary education?
Oh, get out of here, Kat. That's a great question. That's a great question. Now, my counterpart, like, you can't see my office, but I share my office with a young lady who is just, man, phenomenal young lady. She does the college piece, and I don't know the percentage. Let me see here. I've got. I despise people that make up answers when they don't have them. And I don't have any paperwork at my fingertips that answer that question. I've heard her give that answer before, but I'm just not even gonna mess with it in terms of the percentage. But we have who was it? There was somebody here who worked with WEI. Was that Tommy?
Yeah.
Okay. I know we work extremely close with Heartland, and Tommy, you've probably seen some of our students from YouthBuild. He's giving me the thumbs up, and so we get a lot of students that go on to Heartland. I don't know if you can see this or not. This is a flyer. This young man on the front, the reason he's on the front of our flyer is because he is our YouthBuild poster boy. This is a young man who came from, and I won't mention his name, privacy issues, but he went to normal community and didn't work out. Came here and went on one of our field trips to Heartland, and after Heartland, he got involved. Oh, he was excited about welding. And so Heartland had the welding program. He got excited about that. And he wanted to go to check out MTI. So we created a field trip, took a bunch of students to MTI. He goes to MTI on like a Tuesday night, a Tuesday in the day. And then they had a program the next day, took his mom to the program, got excited. This kid got an $8,000 scholarship to MTI. Yes, 8,000. Matter of fact, I'm having lunch with him 2 weeks from now during our spring break and his spring break. $8,000 scholarship to MTI. He is so far advanced in the welding program that he's teaching the kids that came behind him in this welding program. Love this kid. This kid is this is, and so we've got 3 pictures of him. This is him when he first got to YouthBuild. That's him when he graduated. And this is him in his welding, piece. I didn't know anything about welding. I've learned more about welding from this kid than I ever knew. And I was almost going to quit this job and go become a welder. But then I remembered that I said that I wanted to make a difference as opposed to $1. So I'm going to stay here. But let me tell you, this welding gig, look, $120,000 a year that one can make after you've completed a 10-month program, but that's underwater welding, which isn't for everybody. But this changes a kid's life, a young person's life. This changes anybody's life. And a lot of these young people were not aware of these programs beforehand. And I'm not knocking the high schools or what have you, but I used to, Colleen knows I taught at Heartland for years, but college isn't for everyone. It just isn't. And, you've got programs like this that the one thing that I am extremely proud of, and I'm not patting myself on my back, and it's not me. I've got a staff of folks that I work with, but we've created a connection with the union. Union 362, and for the last 20 years, we've not had a relationship with them. And for the life of me, I couldn't understand, why do we not have a relationship with the union? And they need us, we need them. And so we made that connection. And you notice that his car's right by my fingertips, because I call Ron all the time. It's like, hey, I got one for you. And a union job changes lives, and we all know that. And there's not a thing that's been built in McLean County that Union Labor Hall 362 did not have their fingerprints on. This is how you change the community. This is how you change the young people's lives. You get them jobs. You get them real jobs. You get them careers. I'm sorry, getting a little excited here, but
okay.
you see why this is such an important position, and you see why it's so important for us to connect for those young people coming back into this community who are hapless, hopeless, and they just have no direction. This is what the McLean County Reentry Council is all about. And this is, YouthBuild can be just another piece of the puzzle.
Awesome. Man, that is so awesome. You kind of got me excited. Do I want to go welding?
Man, come on, man. Maybe we can get a twofer. We can roll over the MTI together. I don't know.
Any other questions for David?
I would just say I'm a community college veteran. I've done several certificate programs, and
Yes.
I'm a big fan of college is not for everybody. That's okay. There are other things out there that are non-traditional paths. And I think those are completely valid. And honestly, I think the trades are not pushed enough, because the other thing is, you get like training as an electrician, you can be making some nice bank. And
Ain't nothing non-traditional about anything north of 100K a year.
Yeah. So I'm so glad. Also, as an AmeriCorps alum, I love YouthBuild, learning about that with leadership in McLean County. It's like, that's one of my little nuggets of like one of our resources we have. is YouthBuild, because it's such a very beautiful and unique place.
Thank you.
Thank
Any
you.
I don't
other
know if
questions? Oh, go ahead.
It looks like Trudy asked, where does the funding come from?
Oh, I didn't see that. Thank you, Colleen.
I didn't see that either. Okay, I'm looking for Trudy. Okay, Trudy Robinson. That's a good question, Trudy Robinson. And that's, man, this group, I should have had like copious notes, but I just so happen to know these things because I talk about them. Here's the deal. In what is it? Is it 2024? I think it's only been like 10 years. Congress actually passed a bill for programs like YouthBuild. Here's how it works. Every student that goes to school that's from through compulsory education to the age of 16, that community gets a certain amount of dollars for that student. Okay, so when a student leaves Normal West or Normal Community or U-High and they come to YouthBuild, we then get the dollars that was allocated for them at the schools that they were supposed to attend. That allocation then comes to YouthBuild. But obviously that's not enough, because a lot of the students, once you get to, over 16 and or certain ages, we don't get that. And so then we get a Department of Education grant, which we have to reapply for every year. And Congress has set aside educational funds, taxpayers' funds, for programs that are non-traditional like YouthBuild. So that's a great question, Trudy. So we apply for federal funds, we get the money that's allocated for schools and community help and support. And today, when I get off this call at 2:00, which in about 10 minutes, we are opening, we just got a new sensory room. I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but some of our students, they've got some challenges. And we were noticing that we were having students that, well, actually, from a mental health perspective, we needed a place where some of our students could go detune and relax. And so we just got a $10,000 grant from Meyer. Meyer in town, and we just built a sensory room, and we're having the open house today at 2:00 for our staff. And I would love to invite you, any of you, to come to the open house. I'll get that information to Toy. We're going to have an open house for community, for members and folks in the community who want to, come on campus, see what our sensory room looks like, and just take a look at it. I mean, and Toy has my number. Any of you at any time, feel free to reach out to me and come out here, and I'd be more than happy to give you the 50-cent tour of YouthBuild, and so you can actually put eyes on the place and just get a feel for what's going on out here.
Thank you. And I sent out email with his contact information so you guys can get a hold of him. I know, Dave, you got to run, but I just want, anybody else have any questions for Dave before you got to hop off?
Now, let me ask Trudy. Did I answer your question, Trudy?
Oh,
yes,
you very much.
Okay.
Yes, you did. Thank you. And I had 50 cents. I got 50 cents. I come get the tour.
Hey, you know what? With that question, I'm only going to charge you a quarter.
Ooh,
okay?
Well, David, I want to thank you. If don't nobody else have any questions, Colleen, is anything other in the chat? I didn't see anything.
Tommy Johnson did asked about exploring the dual credit option with Heartland, especially since Heartland has many skills-based certificates. So we did throw that out there as well.
And was that a question or a statement?
I think it's a statement.
It's a statement.
Okay, good. Because I didn't have an answer for that. That's good to know. Yeah.
Okay.
It
was a question.
Oh, do we have it too? Tommy, now that's gonna be the one that stumps me, Tommy. You know what? I honestly, don't know, or it's not coming to recollection. I do believe that we do. And the reason I'm going to lean towards that is because I remember a student that graduated last August, and she was taking classes. Man, she's another sharp student that could be on the front of that poster. She was taking classes here and also at Heartland. I don't know if it was dual credit. So I'm, I'd be hesitant to say yes, but I know we have a connection with Heartland.
Awesome. Well, David, I know you got to run. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. You guys just hopping on. We got David Lewis from YouthBuild. YouthBuild is at-risk facility to help youth out that they're facing life struggles to get them back in school. Reason why we're connecting with YouthBuild, because I feel that if we can, get our youth involved, or people that's coming home from the judicial system, to get them involved with YouthBuild, I think it'll make a big impact in their life. So thank you so much, David. Also, if anybody have any questions, any things that got going on in the community they would like to share with the council, the floor is open now for that. If you got something going on in the community that you want all of us to know. Go ahead, Kat.
Had to unmute myself. I'm going to do a little bit of a plug here for Integrity Counseling since I'm on their fundraising team. On April 6th, they are celebrating 10 years of service in the community since 2014. And they really stepped up to fill a very needed niche in our community, which was moving away from the county jail being the main behavioral health provider to they are a pay-as-you-can clinic for people who have no insurance or are underinsured. So they're going to be celebrating 10 years. They're going to be having this big celebration, and I can share the flyer for that. It's going to be a great event. We're going to have a lot of people turning out to help us celebrate.
Thank you so much, Kat. Anyone else?
Just remind us of the date again, Kat.
April 6th, it's from 1 to 4. I don't remember where it's at, but I am about to go ahead and drop the flyer in the chat.
It is at First Christian Church.
Thank you, Michelle.
Yeah.
Awesome. I just want to shoot a shout out there. The McLean County Reentry Council sent a flyer out to everyone. If you guys can, guys can donate some of the great work we're doing. We're looking to build a website, and we're looking to start building a resource guide to send inside to the Illinois Department of Corrections, hopefully here in the near future, and inside the county jail to let individuals know what resources we may have. Also, too, is that we're in a process too of trying to build a backpack with items they may need when they come home from prison or the county jail, like hygiene items. So I think Kara sent out an email with our one page with has our QRU code. I don't know if you could pop that in the chat, Colleen, while you're there. We'd love for you to donate to some of our good cause. We do a lot of great work, and we love you guys coming here every month, but it costs money to do the work we're doing. So if you can do that, that'd be great. Elise, I'm sorry, Stuart.
Sorry, I just this is my first time in this meeting. I wanted to introduce myself. My name's Elise Stewart, and I just started with the Decatur Parole Reentry branch. So sometimes I connect with organizations and I help do a presentation via WebEx to individuals who are incarcerated. So just like you said before, you're all about kind of starting reentry before they leave. So my job is to inform them of organizations and places they can go before they leave. And after they leave, I try to keep in touch with them depending on whether or not they're on parole. So just wanted to connect and introduce myself, and thank you for all the resources that you guys provide.
Thank you so much, Elise. I don't know if you got our one pager, but if you want to put your email in the chat, I'll send you start
Yeah.
adding you on our monthly email list. Did you get an email about this meeting or someone?
I
referred?
was told about it by a coworker.
Okay.
And so they told me to reach out to this meeting because McLean County has their own section for reentry. So
Absolutely. So I hope eventually our whole ultimate goal is, so she just put our information, our one page in the chat. So if you guys, you know, that's our information if you want to donate to us, or that's a QR code for our meeting. But I'm gonna start putting, at least put you on our monthly email list, and you'll start getting emails weekly. So our whole ultimate goal, while we got everybody on here, is to connect with DOC. Matter of fact, we're gonna start having conversations about who can IDOC identify who's coming to McLean County. So, and it's going to be that resident that's incarcerated to contact us by mail, and our PO box is on there too, to see if they want resources. So what we're planning to do is send them inside resources before they leave, so they can get a heads up on what's going on in the community, like felony employers, what community agency work directly with people that have been justice impacted. So we ain't there yet, but that's where we're going. We're in the process of building the infrastructure. That's why I said the work we're doing is gonna not only cost us some of the volunteer work, but it's gonna cost money to get these materials to send into them. Because I truly believe that the more resources they have, that will motivate them, that will empower them to get information they need so when they come home. So use, for example, a guy may be, or a gal may be incarcerated, and we send them in a flyer and say, "Oh, Rivian is hiring Rivian is felony friendly." That's a motivation, because everybody wants to work at Rivian. It pays real good. So that could be a motivator to motivate them to want to continue to do right when they come home. So that's just an example. Anyone else have a report out?
Hey,
So we want to add you to the monthly email list, Alice. Go ahead, Jessica.
Hey, Toy. Just kind of, yeah, I guess piggyback off of that. And so if anybody does, because like Elise said that she, and I've talked about before, the webinars that we host on a weekly basis. So every Wednesday there's a webinar. Each Wednesday is a different district. And so it's kind of a rotating basis on a quarterly. So if there is information that you would like them to have and you'd like to actually, you know, say it to them, not so necessarily in person, but via WebEx, just let Elise know. You know, she could try to get you scheduled on her webinar. And I always call it like a mini reentry summit. And most people know what those are. And so it's just one that's virtual. And there's usually 3 to 5 different community providers that present. It's from 9 to 10:30 every Wednesday. And like I said, it throughout the entire state, but we just have different districts each week. So if anybody ever is wanting to be on that, reach out to myself or Elise.
Thank you, Jessica. Appreciate it. Anyone else? Did you have something, Mr. Chamberlain, did you want to report out, or? I just thought I asked while you.
Well, I can. I'm going to say,
tell us who you are.
We just got out of a planning meeting, and we are planning an expungement seminar in Peoria. And I know this is McLean County, but we're in Peoria on April 6th. And we're working with people in Terry Burnside and some other people in Peoria County to get this done. We're also planning one in Rockford. We're planning some in several areas across the state with regard to that. But I would also like to bring your attention to our pursuit of 2 pieces of legislation, but one I want to talk about specifically is Clean Slate. Clean Slate Illinois, our Clean Slate Illinois Coalition is planning on, we have a legislation that is, our chief sponsor is Representative Jihan Gordon Booth in the House. And we are trying to get clean slate legislation passed in this state. It's been passed in 12 states across the country, led by the Clean Slate Initiative. The first state that it was passed in was Pennsylvania. And in Pennsylvania, since 2019, there have been 45 million records that have been cleared as a result of this automated process. So what we're looking to do is we're trying to get this in Illinois. We're trying to get an automated process for record clearance. Now, this does not mean that everyone who is convicted of a felony, regardless of the felony, will get automated clearance. but this does mean that there are some specific offenses that will qualify. So if people are eligible under the law as it is as it is passed, when it's passed, I'm going to say, when it's passed, those people would be eligible for automated or automatic clearance, and that's sealing. Convictions cannot be expunged, and we're not looking for automated expungement. We're looking for automated automated sealing for convictions.
That's so awesome.
Non-convictions, there's an automated process for non-convictions as well for expungement. But with regard to convictions, the automated process will lead to sealing for those who qualify, those who are eligible.
You want to tell them who you work for or who you with, Greg?
Oh yeah, sure. Okay, my name is Greg Chambers, and I am the Director of Policy for an organization called the Illinois Coalition to End Permanent Punishments. We are formally the Fully Free campaign, and our legislation that we passed last year, the FREE Act, Families' Right to Estate Equity, which there was a law on the books that said if you have a felony conviction, you cannot serve as executor or administrator of a loved one's estate. Well, we changed that, and now, as of January 1st, 2024, a person with a felony conviction can serve as executor of a loved one's estate as long as the person who is the testator says that I am aware that this person has a felony conviction, but I still want this person to serve as my executor. And that is the work that we have done. And we are proud of that work, and we are moving to do more work. And we have a civic engagement bill called the Peace Act, Promoting Involvement and Empowerment Through Civic Engagement. And that is House Bill 2824. The chief sponsor is Representative Maurice West. And Senate Bill 2347, the chief sponsor is Senator Adrian Johnson. And that would create, for instance, there's a law in the books that says if you have a felony conviction, you cannot serve as you cannot hold municipal or county office. However, you can still hold state or federal office. I tell people, make that make sense to me. Why is it you can hold state or federal office, but you can't hold municipal or county office in the state? And so we're looking to make that universal, where people, any person can run as long as electors elect. As long as you qualify and you're eligible to run for office, you should be able to hold office. And so that's one thing. The other thing is there's some offenses that are precluded from serving on boards and commissions. And we're looking to say that should be removed. We believe that if you served your term of imprisonment followed by a period of mandatory supervised release, and you should be fully free, and all barriers should be removed to employment, to housing, to education, and to civic engagement. And that's what we're looking to do. We're looking to remove those barriers by ending permanent punishments. Thank you, Toy.
No problem. Thank you so much. So send me that flyer, and we'll send that flyer out to everybody. The expungement summit that's going to happen in Peoria. I don't know if I got a copy of that, but send it to me, and then I send out to the council, because I know we got some council members on here that live in Peoria. I know Tommy Johnson does, and I know there's a couple DOC people that's from the Peoria area that's on this call, and I will be over there too. So send me that information. I love to.
And we're also working with you guys may know Todd Belcourt. Todd Belcourt, he's an attorney in Peoria, and we're working with him. He has a host of attorneys who will be servicing that summit, that seminar, that expungement seminar, and they will be helping people to have their to submit the process of expungements.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Anybody else have any announcements? I know we took you guys over about 8 minutes. I apologize. But if anybody—
That's my fault.
No, you good. There's some very important information that you shared. You know, we need to know this stuff. This information you're sharing right here, it helps reduce recidivism. If we can help.
And at least we're coming to Decatur. We want to come to Decatur. We've been talking about that. That's on our agenda. And so we're looking for a connection in Decatur. And I think I just found it. So I put my information in the chat.
I'll send you an email.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, guys, I appreciate you so much. Go out there and enjoy your weekend. And don't forget what you said you're going to do this weekend. Follow through. So we'll see you back here next month. Next month, we got a panel discussion. So we want everybody to come back and invite others. We got a panel discussion with individuals that have been just as impacted. So you get to hear their stories and what they're going through, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So invite somebody next month. And you guys have a good weekend.
It's a great weekend. Thank you.
Thank you.